The Foreign Secretary William Hague has called for calm over the North Korean nuclear crisis. His comments came after the United States delayed a long-planned missile test to, quote, avoid any misperception, given the tensions on the Korean peninsula. Well, a little earlier, I spoke to our Asia correspondent John Sparks, who's in Seoul, and I began by asking him whether this was America toning things down.
That's right. I think this decision by the Americans to postpone this long-range missile test in California really proves the point. A spokesman today said it was the logical and prudent thing to do, but I think it also reflects real nervousness on the part of the Americans. They simply don't know how the North Koreans will react. And I think the well-oiled North Korean propaganda machine will probably declare it a victory. And speaking of which, they were busy at work today, still showing pictures on state television in North Korea showing soldiers preparing for war. And there was a pro-regime website as well, putting out a mock video of shells raining down on Seoul, the South Korean capital. I think it really begs the question, is this chest-thumping bravado, or does the regime represent a real threat to peace in the region?
Well, indeed. I mean, you talk about American nervousness. What about South Korean nervousness? How are they holding up?
Well, pretty well. We've been speaking to them this week, and they say the same thing. Listen, we've heard this sort of thing before, they say. But I do think things are a bit different this time. There is evidence of hoarding. A large supermarket chain here said that sales of things like bottled water, of noodles, bottled gas had gone way up. And people are asking questions too. A local newspaper did a survey of schools here, and it asked them if they knew what to do in the event of attack. And the vast majority said they didn't know what to do. And that's remarkable. We're only 50 miles from the North Korean border here.
So the new South Korean president, Mrs. Park, has told her people, rather her military commanders, not to take any political considerations into account if it came to any sort of military response. They're not really in the mood for turning the other cheek, are they?
That's absolutely right. The national security chief was speaking today, and he really reflected this new mood of determination. He said that if North Korea attack, they will retaliate and the damage will be severe. And you can really see how this crisis could escalate very quickly. But the analysts and the experts agree on one thing. They say that there's no evidence that the North Koreans are massing troops north of the border. And remember that the international diplomatic staff in North Korea haven't been evacuated. They're still there. And just one final thing to mention, the Swiss have offered tonight to mediate in this crisis. Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader, went to a Swiss boarding school, so maybe they think that he'd benefit from a headmasterly talking to.